shoot, I said that you claim it. It's that Xbox, spin the block, his legs slide. Fast talker, no riddling, moonwalking, selling moon rock just to make dividends. You in traffic with family? That much making a portrait. Gun kick back, not grannies from porches. David on the scene, you know that it's scorching. What's a man with king? No response to the saying, advancing the line, advancing the payment. You front the game and shoot, I said that you claim it.
You already know the time, told my boys to hold the line. We gon' shoot it out in seconds, leave you posted like a vine. Bow your head down to the king, leave your roses at the shrine. We stay ready for the war, just need the king to drop the sign. Say what you running from, what you running from? I'm with my team, we bleed green, that's what you wanted, huh? Say what you running from, what you running from? I'm with my team, we bleed green, that's what you wanted, huh? This what you wanted. This what you wanted, huh?
Peace and blessings, and welcome back to Xbox Frontline News with your boy, the King. Welcome to this glorious Wednesday. Wednesday's always a fun day, and I do appreciate everybody that is showing up and having a great time. Now, we do got a lot of stuff that we need to talk about. We do have to talk about all the shakings and shenanigans that's going over there on the PlayStation. The PlayStation right now is rocking and socking and having so much fun with a certain racing game. We do appreciate that over at Xbox. Thank you for breathing new life into one of our oldest franchises, and we do appreciate you guys for doing so. But we also saw that Microsoft reversed a controversial topic. Like they changed something, and we do need to talk about that. But we do need to talk about Ubisoft, and we do need to talk about what EA is doing. Now, I heard Microsoft and EA is cool, but are they? Are they really fighting? What's happening? What's going on with Microsoft and EA? And is there change on the horizon? Well, I want to let you know, I got you. I got you covered. So where other people dig on the surface, I dig deeper. Pause. And I'm going to get to the root of what it is. Yeah, no pause. Full ditty. No breaks. In other news, Ubisoft is still playing around inside the toilet. Rainbow Six Siege underperforms to leave Ubisoft net bookings below expectations. Ubisoft expects the franchise to bounce back now that technical pricing issues have been addressed. Now, we don't need to go into the whole financials of everything, but the numbers have been below expectations for the French publisher. Consolidating in the first quarter, net bookings fell by 2.9% year on year. And, Ubisoft found themselves in a bit of a quagmire. And they thought that, Rainbow Six would definitely do a little bit more. It underperformed. But what did do good was Assassin's Creed Shadows delivered on expectations with over 5 million unique players, although it's unclear how many of those copies have been sold. But we do know that I think it's like 2 million or so has been sold on the PlayStation. So you can estimate the rest of those million are sold through Steam and Xbox. And then you have the streaming services and stuff and so on. But it's still considered a net positive because of the microtransactions that's inside the game. But they are still conducting layoffs. Despite the hefty investment from Tencent, Ubisoft Red Storm is largely known for his work on the Tom Clancy series and is said to be part of Ubisoft's ongoing targeting, restructuring, and global cost-saving effort at the time. The cuts come despite the massive Tencent investment and the creation of the special subsidiary with the Chinese conglomerate. Now, we all know that Tencent has been in a little bit of trouble, and we do know that the stocks did fall to a point where Tencent had to jump in and save them from drowning. And we also understand that Rainbow Six Siege has gone through a little bit of a transformation, and they did fix the structuring issues that they did have with the payment process. So, again, take this with a grain of salt. I think they should be okay, but again, who's to say, right? The next big hit could be the next big blunder. We never know, right? Ubisoft is teetering on the brink. Well, it seems that Forza Horizon 5 is 2025's top new PlayStation 5 game sold by copies. Top 5 PlayStation games sold by copies on the PlayStation 5 from January 1st to July 21st of 2025. Forza and new RPGs across different RPG subgenres continue to dominate the sales on the PlayStation in 2025. You have Forza Horizon 5, which has sold 3.0 million. It's going to be 3.1 in a second. That's the reason why I'm selling that. Monster Hunter for 2.9. Assassin's Creed Shadows with 2.0, Elden Ring Night Reign with 1.4, and Expedition 33 with 1.3. Interesting things indeed. I told you guys it's going to be something disgusting that happens with the PlayStation ecosystem, and people didn't realize what was going to transpire. The fact of the matter is that Forza Horizon 5 is PlayStation's best-selling game in 2025, with selling 3.0 million. Now, I told dudes before that it was 3.0 million, actually 3.1 million, but we'll get to that at a later date. But what I'm trying to explain to you is that that was a Trojan horse. They was going to bring those games over. Now, you're talking about a 5-year-old game to jump inside a new ecosystem and dominate in the way that it's doing so. Do you understand what Gears is about to do to this ecosystem where racing is a niche title? Forza Horizon 5 speeds past the competition. Now, the problem is Monster Hunter Wilds was, for all intents and purposes, considered a mega hit. And Forza Horizon just blazed past it. And it left everything else in its wake. You can say Expedition 33, they left in a wake. They left Assassin's Creed in a wake. This is crazy because I thought that Elden Ring Night Reign would definitely do insane numbers on the PlayStation ecosystem. Well, it seems that Xbox games are in high demand, and that old tag that they would say that Xbox games don't sell, nobody wants Xbox games. Well, obviously the PlayStation fan base does want it. Obviously the fan base does crave it. Obviously the fan base does enjoy it, and the word is spreading like wildfire, people. I expect this title to buy at least by the end of the year to have sold 5 million on the PlayStation ecosystem, which is absolutely insane. A game that sold X amount on the Xbox has turned around and sold that much in this short period of time. This does not bode well for Sony's first-party titles being launched in their own ecosystem, because if Xbox decides to start targeting their first-party launches with their own first-party games, sending it over to them third-party games to PlayStation, this can look like grand opening, grand closing. Ain't that right, Porter Rock? Now, I was going to say something totally different when it came to this, and I just don't think it's appropriate with this, right? EA is all bets in with the Battlefield 6 includes a multi-million-dollar creative campaign. Every year, I look, or every time they release a new Battlefield, I look at the trailer, I get excited, I can't wait for it, and it gets here. It's either broken at launch, and it's a disappointment with engagement. And if you can't capture the fan base immediately, they fall off. They fall off to the point that nobody joins in, and it's left in this void, this area of uncertainty. In a package deal, creators have been offered funds to cover Battlefield 6 a reveal event, as well as being required to release an allotted amount of coverage for the Battlefield 6 beta, which is scheduled to take place in August. According to one source who wished to remain anonymous, as they weren't authorized to talk about the deal publicly due to the NDA, it was said that this is the most amount of money I've seen for a sponsored deal. Battlefield 6 Code Next style event is scheduled to take place July 31st. Now listen, none of the Iron Lords or lordsofgaming.net has been called to play Battlefield, and we're not known Battlefield players, and we're not streamers or anything of that nature. I heard behind the scenes that this is probably one of the most ambitiously funded EA games. I think this is their last shot. I think this is their Hail Mary. I hope it succeeds. Because I think it's a pie big enough for everyone, where games like Off the Grid can come in, and Call of Duty yearly has hits. I think there's a space for Battlefield. I really do. I think if they can capture the Battlefield feel, I think there's a space for it, and I hope there's a space for it, and I truly wish there to be a space for it. I just hope they nail it this time. I'm gonna tell you something. This could be a good thing. This could be a bad thing. I don't know where they're going with this power consumption saving mode with the PlayStation, but Sony's new power saving mode sounds ideal for the PlayStation handheld. Now, I don't think it sounds ideal for the PlayStation handheld. I think that thing will have a power saving mode initially inside of it. I don't want to scale back performance on my games to save on power. I don't think that's a thing. And for it to be initially talked about in a beta form is kind of worrisome. Now, I know you're going to say you're an Xbox dude, and I have a PlayStation. Shut the hell up. A new PlayStation 5 beta updates also allows you to pair DualSense controller to 4 devices simultaneously. Now that's ingenious. That's some weird stuff. I don't know what you can do with that. Maybe it's a game that takes advantage of that. Maybe that's a game that, you know, you're able to control 4 different devices at one time. Wow. What the hell does that do? I don't know, but I'm into quirky, wild stuff like that. So that power saving mode won't be available for people right now, but it will be available for people later. So you guys get a chance to check that out and see what that is about after it gets out of beta. But listen, I'm not in favor of lowering the performance on games. I'm trying to get the maximum amount of performance out of every game, and I don't care about the power consumption rate to it. Right? That just tells me that you're trying to keep the system from overheating on super demanding games. So if there's a game that's super demanding like Grand Theft Auto 6, you introduce power saving mode to reduce the load and reduce performance to keep the game running without it overheating. This is what I think this is about. I think it's more about this and less about a handheld. And now, you know, on Fight Night Fridays, this PlayStation fighting game is definitely coming home. With room for 35 people on this roster, this is going to be something that is worth to get cracking in. Oh man, I cannot wait. But when they did this screen, they showed me this screen, I just immediately got giddy with expectations for all the characters that could possibly be used here. I don't know what's going to happen here, but I am so happy that I get a chance to play more and more Marvel fighting games and more games that have Marvel characters in it. First and foremost, I want to tell you that I rock with Xbox Era. All right. And there was a rumor that Fable was getting canceled or pushed back or something. I just need you to hear about what Xbox Era had to say about it.
We've got a membership renewal that I think can be our next topic of why there will never again be a rumor mill. It is now dead, gone. I refuse to ever let it go, and if Nick tries to do one, I will mute him. He will be muted in the future from now on.
This is one of those frustrating things, because I can't stop Nick speaking, right? But like, think how big Microsoft is. How many people did they fire at a month ago?
9,000.
2 weeks ago, 9,000 people. It's 230,000 people. One person or two people out of that many people could say to Nick, reportedly, and that could be via a friend of a friend of a friend, and say the words, Fable's not going to make 2026. Nick blurting that out loud means nothing right now, right? Like, there's no article, there's no direct sourcing behind it. It is just Nick, and I'm going to be really, really blunt here, massaging his own ego for clout. Correct. Thank you, Lyrics. And it serves nothing. And all it will do is created a story and a narrative that is based on what? A 10-second outburst?
The one time I didn't get to mute him quickly enough.
Like, I don't mind a rumor mill, and typically if we've sourced something and we've seen it, you're going to see an article on it. Do you know what I mean? Like, the rumor mills don't do anybody any good. I know it feels good for you as the listener, perhaps, right? And I understand why people enjoy the chit chat around them, but especially with publishers, especially if it's not true, what's that gonna do? It's just gonna piss people off, because now there's a silly narrative, and what? So yeah, it's an irritating thing to deal, because I'm seeing and all that's happening with these channels that are promoting this out as rumor, they're just doing it for engagement to get their own fucking clout. He's the dumbest circle jerk of stupid.
Well, okay. Sorry for the cursing that you had to hear. But again, no. I agree with them. Wholeheartedly. If you are able to control that, and if you haven't sourced anything out, good. Put a lid on it, because it does nothing but does irreparable damage to a company's brand, to publishers. And Xbox Era, like Iron Lords podcast, are invited to many, many, many different things. And to strain those ties off of something that can't be substantiated is not very good, right? So again, when I tell you stuff that I'm going off of, and when I tell you hashtag no PlayStation 6, there's a lot of jokes and a lot of fun. It's a lot of stuff that we lean into here. When I tell you that I believe that hardware is coming out next year, like I told you, hardware was launching this year. We have an OEM product from Xbox that is releasing this year, and to the best of my knowledge, it will be another OEM product releasing next year. But again, I tell you, that's my stuff. Take that with a grain of salt, right? I get them. I get what they're saying, and I understand it, and I get their frustration with certain things. Now, let me tell you a little bit more of why the Outer Worlds is at that $69.99 price release. And it has more to do with a lot of other things other than what you think. Microsoft has said, they gave a blanket statement that coming this holiday season, Xbox first party titles will be $79.99, will be $80. And now, knowing that Call of Duty is one of their premier titles, Call of Duty releasing at $80 places it at an $80 price point, right? Because they didn't have any direct competitor this year that could fight them on that. Well, that's until Battlefield 6 announced that it was going to be, the date leaked, that it was going to be releasing October 10th. Now, Battlefield 6 price and release date leaked ahead of the 2025 Xbox launch. It could be coming sooner than you think. Now, yesterday, Xbox revealed Battlefield 6 begins its hype cycle for the next big Xbox first-person online shooter. Now, reliable folks over at Deal Labs have released some extra information on what we can expect from the upcoming Xbox launch. First off, the site has corroborated with previous insider gaming reports that Battlefield 6 will release on Xbox, PlayStation, and PC October 10th. Deal Labs also reported that a Phantom Edition does exist too, but that won't carry any sort of early access bonus. Now, the pricing is in euros, and it goes at £79, right? And the Phantom Edition upgrade coming in at £29.99 pounds. So this should make the base game $70 over in the UK if you're going at the pricing models. I want you to understand that Xbox reversing their pricing has everything to do with Battlefield and has absolutely nothing to do with people feeling that they got one over on Xbox and they made them reverse their stance. They cannot have their cash cow actually take a step back. Now, you got to realize that Battlefield 6 is launching on, I think it's just current gen only. And graphical fidelity should be maddening, to say the least. If the controls are insane, you're talking about a game that can actually be leaps and bounds ahead of whatever the Call of Duty is. Because next year's Call of Duty will be current gen only. I believe this is the last gen that this Call of Duty is both gens. Something to think about. First and foremost, I want to give a shout out to Blaze 4K, because Blaze 4K got my copy, my review copy of Wu Chang Falling Feathers. Now, I think I say, well, why the hell you gave up your copy, King? First, it went to somebody that is deserving of having it. Second, I knew out of the whole Souls community, Blaze 4K is a top-notch Souls player. He's probably one of the best Souls player next to Lord Attic that I know. And I dare say that he's probably the best seeing the outcome of this game, and they did their review. Now you can go to Iron Lord's podcast and see the review with Blaze 4K and Lord Attic talking about Wu Chang Falling Feathers. The game is incredibly hard. Pause. It is one of the most challenging Souls-like games that you're ever going to play. And for Blaze 4K to have beaten the game, and he's played more than 80 hours plus and has gone on to do New Game Plus, and he's X amount of hours into that, leads me to believe I made the right choice. Now, a lot of times with lordsofgaming.net, we get a ton of games, and I got games that's coming in. I got consoles that's coming in, stuff that I'm playing, stuff that I'm testing, stuff that I'm in the background doing, and I won't get a chance to play a lot of stuff that comes down the pipe. And rather than me hold on to something that I know is in somebody's wheelhouse, self-sacrifice is the greatest sacrifice that you could ever do, right? As far as giving on to others, and he nailed it. They killed it. That review is fantastic. I suggest everybody go look at that review with Lord Attic and Blaze 4K talking about Wu Chang Fallen Feathers. Now, they played it on PC because it was a PC Steam build, and I believe they both have AMD builds. I don't know. I think Blaze said he has a 3090. I don't know. Don't quote me on this. All right. But Lord Attic has an AMD build, and that's from NZXT. So shout out to our sponsors, NZXT. Again, Wu Chang Fallen Feathers. If you're looking forward to it, God bless you, because it's gonna test you. Wow. This comes the official Twitter of Bethesda. The official Twitter of the Outer Worlds. Pre-order was $79.99. Scratch that out. It is $69.99. Things are afoot. When the Outer Worlds 2 was first announced, everybody was hype, super hype for it. And then came the wet blanket. Microsoft talking about Outer Worlds 2 will be their first $80 game. Coming this fall, and that was the wet blanket. And then you had people standing on $10 more, who cares? Other people like, yo, it should be less than that. Then you got other people saying, I don't give a damn, I got Game Pass. Anywhere you stood, it was a controversy. If it's in Game Pass, that means you're not buying, right? You're trying, and you're paying for Game Pass, so who cares, right? You get a chance to try it. If it's a more than the normal $69, you're kind of pissed off because you're buying, right? And then if you're paying the $79, you say you don't care, you're going to pay the $79, because sometimes you do pay for the early access. That $10 can go to early access. And I think Microsoft and Xbox understands this. But I think the bigger thing is that Xbox understands that Battlefield 6 is coming out in October. And that game is going to give heavy competition to whatever Xbox has going on. I think that more so than people whining and crying online, because I never believe that corporates hear you whining and crying at all. You have to prove it. Now, it could be a conjunction of things. It could be a whole myriad of things. But one cascading thing that I believe it honestly is, I believe it's Battlefield 6. And I believe Battlefield 6 ultimately nerfs Microsoft plans for putting out $80 games. Also, Nintendo's reluctancy of standing on their pivot, on their deem, on their word, on their tens, when it came to the pricing structure of $80 games or $90 games. I think it was one of the two. Whatever it was, they wavered. They buckled. They said, oh, some games. Xbox looked like the only corporation that was out there wilding out when everybody else was reeling it back in. Now, if you are a Game Pass sub, you know Tuesdays is wild. But today, Will World is available for Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscribers. This day one release marks the 15th title to launch and reach Microsoft's subscription service in this July. Day ones, boy. Oh, as well as the 93rd Xbox Game Pass edition since the start of this year. That's been 93 new Xbox games inside Game Pass. Let that sink in. And 15 brand new launches, day ones, inside Game Pass. The sixth title from the US studio, Mosef, Wheel World, is a unique bike adventure game that puts players in the cycling shoes of Kat, an athlete chosen by the ancient spirits to save the universe. Speeding in this high-stakes mission will require a lot of pedaling, with races and exploration rewarding Kat's stolen legendary parts needed to perform the Great Shift ritual that will avert global destruction. An intricate bike customization system also part of the package, together with the low-contrast cel-shaded graphics reminiscent of comic book aesthetics. After delaying and renaming Wheel World, originally known as Ghost Bike, back in October 24, publisher Annapurna Interactive, at long last, released the game July 23rd, as originally promised. Now, if you guys are playing it, let me know. If it's a game that you like, let me know. If you're a Game Pass player, let me know. Now, to answer that question, Battlefield 6, is it on Xbox One and PlayStation 4? No. Battlefield 6 isn't expected to launch on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. According to insider reports, EA is targeting only the Xbox Series X and X, PlayStation 5, and PC. They talking about this thing is going to enable 128 player matches, bigger maps, and more granular destruction without having to rely on last-gen hardware. Bro, I'm telling you, this is what Xbox and Microsoft is afraid of. So now, given the information that you got, I think you can make better assessments with what's going on. I do respect Xbox era for, putting a lid on some of the stuff that's been going on, because I think they do know that Nick has been the center of a lot of the controversy. And I do think that they're looking at them like, you're the reason why Microsoft is in such bad standing with the community. And I think that's unnecessarily wrong, like to target them in any form, right? So again, take it with a grain of salt. Me personally, I don't believe something until I actually know about it. And once I know about it, even then, I'm just like, wow, like, remember, we knew about the Indiana Jones thing, and I still just was like, I can't believe they did that. But then understanding afterwards, after I was explaining some stuff, then I understand it, right? So again, listen, we see EA is ramping up with Battlefield 6, and I think Battlefield 6 is going to be a true contender this generation, this game for Call of Duty. I think they're going to really bring the muscle to the hustle to this one right now because they're ready to tussle. I really think so. I think it's more than what people think. And let's not understate Forza Horizon. Forza Horizon 5 selling 3 million copies on an old title, and I think that thing released in April. To be, and it didn't, this is like, listen, to beat games that released earlier than it, it's wild, it's wild, right? So that lets you know Xbox releasing more games. They're looking at this pie like, we can definitely go over there and make bread. They will start forcing the PlayStation user to pick. In October, you're going to have the Outer Worlds coming out in October. I want to know what's before that, before Ghost of Yode in September. Like, they're going to start strategically placing games around the consumer to force the consumer to pick. And there's just so much time, money, and engagement that you have. So does things lend to you gotta wait? I don't know. I honestly think that that's a bad idea for Sony. I think that puts them in a bad spot. With Xbox fundamentally taking over everything, this isn't good. Now, Ubisoft, we've noticed, is in a quagmire. With them cutting more people, with getting this cash infusion, lets you know that they're going to use AI more and more. So now, are you a believer in Game Pass or not? Is Game Pass your singular way to participate in games? Or is Game Pass something as an additive? I need to know. I need to gauge the community. I need to find out, what is Game Pass to you? See, me, if there's games that I'm unsure about, I try Game Pass. If I don't really know, I'll try them in Game Pass. Now, there's some games that I know definitely I'm going to get as soon as I get Game Pass, and then I also would buy the couple of days early or whatever package that I'm going to get around it. Watching and seeing all of this stuff transpire, you got to really understand this is chess, not checkers. And sometimes when we believe that we know certain things, sometimes we definitely don't. And even then, sometimes companies have a different agenda. So don't be delusional in believing your voice changed that price tag. Your voice had nothing to do with it. It's projections. Maybe it didn't pre-order well. Maybe they looked at what was releasing in that month, and if a game like Ghost of Yode, which is looked at as graphically and with fidelity wise very high potent, then maybe we need to lower the SKU on our price tag, even though our game may offer more value. Perception wise, the consumer doesn't look at it that way. So then now you got to look at the consumer and say, oh, all right, we're in line. So I think that them getting in line with what everyone is doing this year, and when Grand Theft Auto comes out and sets that precedent, let them do it. Like we've been saying. Because it will be crazy if you have egg on your face that Grand Theft Auto comes out for $69.99. And you're the only one out there for $80. You're doing all this consumer-friendly stuff. Why you will become the face of anti-consumer, right? Don't need it. Now, sidebar. I was in Best Buy today. You know what I saw? On the Xbox section, like in the front, right? So when you go to get consoles, you can order an Xbox console and you can do it for pickup. They bring it out of the back. What I saw there was a bunch of Xbox MetaQuest 3 S's. Tons of them. I saw PlayStations and I saw Switches. I didn't see any Xbox hardware. But then when I asked the lady said, oh, no. You can get it right now. It's in the back. Right now, this is the SKU that they're running with. So when a lot of you guys tell me that that's not an Xbox, tell that to Best Buy. Because Best Buy sees something totally different. And then when she rung it up, you look at it, it has a whole Xbox SKU. Had a whole good conversation. But yo, this is Xbox Frontline News. I do appreciate each and every last one of you guys for showing up, watching the videos. We get crazy in depth. We get informative. We get down to the gristle. You know, a lot of guys just want to eat the chicken. No, we're going to get down to the gristle. We're going to get down to the bone. Pause. We're going to make it do what it do, baby. So I'm going to take that logo and I'm going to throw it around Wheel World. Because I ain't going to hold you. I had saw that at the Summer Games Fest and I was just like, yeah. I remember, I was like, yo, wasn't that called like Ghost Bike or something like that? And Cog was like, yeah. So I was like, yeah, I got to try that. Day one Game Pass, I'm going to do what it do. I'm going to go where game is game and players win. Try to play the Game Pass.